Welcome back, my internet friends. Hope you all are doing well today, and it's so good to see you. I really appreciate when you comment below because I love hearing from each and every one of you. So today I am going to be going over the Jack and Lilly case once more. This is very important information, and I'm going to go ahead and squash, I guess, or this is from Daniel himself, as I guess somebody stated there was a vehicle towed from his house the other day, and he is saying that it is not true. Now, I have went ahead and asked Daniel a question because I remember a month or so ago that someone said that he was kicked off a car lot, a used car lot. So I asked him this question, and if hopefully he answers me back and says that was a rumor as well, or it wasn't, and kind of gives me an explanation. So before we get started on that, guys, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and there's also a hype button. That way Jack and Lily's faces can get out there, we can find these children and get justice. Stay tuned, I've got a packed video for you guys. All right, let's get started. Someone asked, heard a car was towed from Jack and Lily's house, which is the 1407. Daniel said no cars were towed, excuse me. So I asked him a question basically saying, hey, I heard also, that you were kicked off a used car lot. Is this a rumor or what? I heard the car salesman was basically calling him names and stuff like that. I cannot remember where I heard this. Maybe it was a text. I'm not sure. I'm still looking for that, but I'm hoping Daniel will clear this up. So let's get started on some of the search. So yesterday there was a video of Janie showing where the blanket was, the boot prints, and same with Daniel. All right, stay tuned.
This is the left-hand side of the pipeline. Boot print was actually found right up there. You can see the ATV trail. That's the access trail they use for the pipeline.
The road is called the Landsdowne Road. This is the road coming off the 289. This is going towards my brother's place. Okay, on your left-hand side here is the pipeline. This is where the boot print was supposed to be found, or found. It's kind of growing up a little bit. They probably didn't trim it this year because of the band that we had. But this here is an ATV track where the pipeline people use, and where the RCMP would have used their ATVs to go up to look for Jack and Lilly. The right side here is the pipeline that would be in back of my place. And if you can see that bare spot, that is the train tracks. Now, this is the tree. This is an old road. This is the tree where the blanket was found. Right here where the ribbons are. Now, if you can look from the ground here to here is where the blanket was found, on that branch right there. Where you see that little gray box?
Okay, so basically she's pointing through these trees because through there is where the railroad tracks are. So she's pointing, see that
is
gray
the railroad
box in the
tracks.
background? So that's where the railroad tracks are, behind there. Okay, now Janie turned around and she is driving towards the 289 Gairloch Road, where she lives. So this is what the area looks like. I'm going to let her tell you.
289. That's the main road. Another road there, but it just goes up in the woods. It doesn't go very far. Railroad tracks.
Where the blanket was found, you can clearly see it was visible from the road. Like 15 feet from the road. Maybe not even. Yeah, a little more than 15 feet. And this is the exact branch. So way higher than 5 feet in the air. It's actually over my head, so it's already 6 feet. That one right there. It's draped over that branch. This is the left-hand side of the pipeline. A boot print was actually found right up there. You can see the ATV trail. That's the access trail they use for the pipeline.
Forgot about this, but I want to show you these before we go on to our next spot here. So Daniel stated the other day on Sunny's chat, he says, I'm not impressed with investigators not even informing me or mom. Talking about like the cadaver search, I'm taking a while, I guess. I should release all the information I brought to major crimes that would point fingers. It's undeniable and I hold back. I'm just gonna throw in my opinion real quick. If he had anything incriminating against Malaya or whatever, don't you think he would have already like put it out there? Like, for instance, on the first day, they already started trying to find people to blame, like Cindy, Malaya's mom, like saying she showed up too early. Like, come on, you know what I mean? All right, let's go to the next one. He says they told Malaya. So they told Malaya they were coming out to search, but they didn't tell you, I'm guessing. I don't know. And then Daniel says, I don't need a criminal lawyer. And then look at that, believe me. And when I read that, believe me, I always hear Janie's voice, believe me.
And the kids have never wandered away or never gone in the woods by themselves in the last 2 years. Why all of a sudden would they do it Friday morning? And there's three questions I cannot answer. The first question is who would know the kids were home?
You, Janie, you knew.
And number two, who would know when they were outside?
You, Janie, you knew when.
And number three, when I saw Malaya outside my RV, why wasn't she crying or why wasn't she hysterical if her kids went missing 20 minutes ago?
Probably because she knows what happened or has a feeling of what happened. Also, I wonder if Daniel knew that she was going to leave him and something happened Thursday night. Comment below. They know I feel. I asked 10 times for them. Talking about the cadaver dogs. And remember in his video the other day about, he said that the cadaver dogs will never find Jack and Lilly. Like, how does he know? How do you know, dude? Like, they could have went in some tiny little hole somewhere on your property or somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't know. Like, yeah, you think you searched everything, but there's no possible way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he says, I searched as far out as 6 kilometers, all trails and all roads. But guys, come on. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of woods out there. I want to say something. That's not that far. That's only like almost 4 miles. That's not that far. You know what I mean? That's not, I don't know. And I want to reference something. So he said, okay, Janie says that they came and got Malaya like 6 bags of clothing, and hardly any of it was Malaya's. It was Jack and Lilly stuff. But Daniel said earlier on, I have Malaya's court documents at the house from the custody battle with Cody. Malaya left all her belongings at the house. The documents say awful stuff about Cody. I'm not going to release anything because it's not right to do so. Okay, why do you even add this part in? Here we go again. This is just like the first one that I just showed you, okay? I'm not going to do this because I'm a good guy. I'm not a bad person. Believe me. Gosh. All right, guys. Listen, we're going to start off with this. It says guilty parents may act unusually when a child goes missing, showing a lack of unexpected emotional response, such as fear, grief, and tears, and demonstrating a lack of genuine concern or interest in finding their child. They might appear outwardly calm, use past tense to refer to the child. So, have we heard this? The past tense? Oh, I can't highlight it. We've heard this, right? And then display threatening body language, like throwing arms around, just angry, you know? And then it says exhibit self-destructive behaviors or try to distance themselves from the situation rather than focus on the child's safety. Okay, it seems like in this case, we have the mom, Malaya. She has totally distanced herself from the public for the most part. Now, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know if she's been assisting with RCMP. It seems like it from... Daniel was saying Malaya knew about the search, so maybe she's working with them. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I don't know. So the thing is, it's this entire thing, and I'm not pointing fingers, but it's like Janie and Daniel are both. They are both the entire time trying to prove their innocence, guys. All right, signs of deceptions, guys. Lack of typical emotional responses, a lack of eyebrow involvement, tears, or other signs of distress when discussing the disappearance of their child. Okay, inappropriate actions, running into a store for help instead of screaming. Okay, we saw that with Malaya, like she wasn't really emotional. Or focusing on the situation itself rather than the child's well-being. Now, maybe, remember she said, in a mother's heart, you always think the worst. No, not. You do think the worst could happen, but you're trying to hope for the best. But she does say that, hope for the best as well. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment below on this right here. Or on anything. All right, and then it says body language, maintaining distance from their spouse. Right there, we have both of them. Malaya left. She put that she was single. And it says a light breathing pattern or a quiet demeanor that doesn't match the gravity for the situation. So you have Daniel who's trying to prove his innocence, trying to be the hero, saying he's done everything. And then you have Malaya just quiet as a church mouse. Then you have discrepancies in their stories, which there are so many in here. A lack of memory or inconsistencies, and there's narrative can also be a red flag. And then focus on self-preservation. The parent's primary concern might be to manage the current situation or protect themselves rather than the child. Right here. This one right here. Who does this remind you of right here? I want you to comment below. All right, let's move on to the non-guilty. Okay. Actions of truly grieving parents. Intense fear and terror, a racing heart, difficulty breathing, and constant worry for the child's safety are typical responses. Active engagement. Parents will actively participate in searches and work with authorities, trusting their instincts and sharing their feelings. So it seems like maybe Malaya's working with authorities behind the scenes. Daniel seems kind of ticked off that he's been asking for months for cadaver dogs and now they just show up at his door without telling him. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Then outward displays of emotion, openly showing fear, grief, and anger, and a desire to hold their child once more. Now, this is Daniel's he was like a stepfather to them for a few years. So, and then a strong family bond, a desire to physically and emotionally connect with their spouse, seeking comfort in each other. This one right here is not happening whatsoever with Daniel and Malaya. Now, Daniel is not the bio father, but they were a couple for a while. Other potential behaviors: self-destruction, hiding feelings about the missing children can lead to substance abuse. Risky behaviors or other self-destructive patterns. Displacement. Relationships can be destroyed, leading family members to seek a surrogate families or extramarital relationships. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, this is a little bit different. This one is in the context of a criminal investigation where a parent is suspected of unaliving their child. You would look for evidence of intent, opportunity, and a motive. This includes gathering information on the parent's behavior before and after the child's death or unaliving or whatever. Reviewing digital and physical evidence such as communications, weapons, DNA, and considering the parent's mental state and history of abuse and instability. Now, there's been claims that there has been abuse from Malaya about Daniel, and then in the documents it contradicted itself. I don't know, maybe they redacted some of that. That's another thing I want to talk about. Daniel in his interview was asking for new polygraph testers. Why? If you've already had it done a couple times, why do you want new people to come in? Why are you pushing so hard to prove your innocence? If you're innocent, leave it at that. Who cares what people think? It's you know what I mean? During a criminal investigation, law enforcement and forensic professionals look for the following to establish guilt: evidence of intent, prior threats, malice, or documented witnesses' statements from the parent that indicated a desire to harm the child. History of abuse, a pattern of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse against the child or other family members. Mental state, evidence of a mental health condition or personality disorder that may have contributed to the act or assessed by a forensic psychologist. Deliberate actions, planning or specific actions that show the parent intended to cause harm or death. All right, let's move to the next one. This one says evidence of opportunity, proximity to the crime scene, the parent's presence or access to the location where the child died. Lack of alibi, inability to account for their whereabouts during the time of death. Now, this is after the child's been found. You know what I mean? Control over the child. The parent having the authority or ability to prevent others from interacting with the child and having sole or primary care of the child at the time. I want to focus on this one. Evidence of motive, financial gain, discovering that a parent stood to gain financially from the child's death, such as through life insurance or selling the child, because you're in debt, maybe. Personal gain, a parent feeling the child was an obstacle to a new relationship. Career, remember Daniel had to leave, as Janie said, several times to take care of Jack and Lilly. Or other personal goals, frustration or control, a history of extreme anger, frustration, or a desire to control the child's life. Well, Daniel told us he's taking anger management classes and random rug classes. All right. Forensic evidence, DNA and fingerprints. Any DNA or fingerprints belonging to the parent at the scene that they do not. Okay, so this is what they would collect, guys. So like how they got the blanket, that was for DNA evidence. They get their witness testimony from people like the neighbors or digital footprints, their phones. And then I saved this because of this inconsistent statements. The parent providing conflicting or false information to investigators. Right there, guys. Right there. I just want to read this to you guys really quick. This is another article. It's very long, but I just picked out a few things. It says some children who have been reported missing are not actually missing, but instead are victims of fatal abuse by their parents or caregivers. It says caregivers responsible for the death of a child in their care may falsely claim the child is missing or has been abducted to provide an explanation for the child's disappearance and divert suspicion away from their role in what truly happened to the child. Okay. This just kind of picks out like basically what guilty parents do in the case of their missing child or children in this case. I want to read this to you. Research has demonstrated that the victims in false allegation cases are primarily children under the age of 5 with a median age of 3.5. Now this is for the United States, so it might be a little bit different in Canada, but most likely probably the same. Consistent with the Department of Health and Human Services. Findings that children under the age of 4 years old are at greatest risk for severe injury or death by their caregivers. Over half of children who are the subject of false allegation are 5 years old or younger. Now, Lilly, I believe she had just turned 6 before she went missing. On the other hand, the average for children unalived as a result of a non-familiar child, abductions, is much higher at 11 years old. Okay. It says the disparity observed of victims' ages is particularly explained by the primary motivation of offenders compared to sexually motivated non-family abductions. Most false allegations can arise from fatal physical abuse inflicted by the caregiver, and in many cases, the child was unwanted. All right, guys, what do you think about everything that we went over today? I want to hear your thoughts about everything that we went over. We did a poll last night, and a lot of people believe that all 3 people on the property did something to Jack and Lilly. And it's sad. It's really sad. And I hope the truth comes out soon. I hope the dogs find something, guys. These videos are not easy to make. They just, you really take it home with you, you know. And there are so many children out there missing. And right now, as I'm speaking, doing this video, there are children being abused by their parents, their caregivers, by family friends. It's just heartbreaking. But I'm not going to make this video too long. I will keep you updated and posted as much as possible. If you have anything, any information that you want to get out to me or share any other case, feel free to email me. My email's on the back of my channel description, and we can chat over the case or over what you find, anything. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.